The first thing I would say this morning is that, as you notice, I do not have my ratty Bible. I do have a gift that was given to me when I ended my service here as interim pastor, and I use this every day. And I give praise and thanksgiving to God for the fellowship that we have together in Jesus Christ. This morning, I'm going to share with you from the gospel. The gospel message is not unfamiliar. John is a favorite gospel of mine, and not the least reason why is this passage. This is taking place after the feeding of the 5,000. Now hear the word of the Lord. The next day, the crowd that had stayed on the other side of the sea saw that there had been only one boat there. They also saw that Jesus had not got into the boat with his disciples, but that his disciples had gone away alone. Then some boats from Tiberias came near the place where they had eaten the bread after the Lord had given thanks. So when the crowd saw that neither Jesus nor his disciples were there, they themselves got into the boats and went to Capernaum looking for Jesus. When they found him on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Jesus answered them, "Very truly, I tell you, you are looking for me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. Do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures for eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For it is on him that God the Father has set his seal." Then they said to him, "What must we do to perform the works of God?" Jesus answered them, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent." So they said to him, "What sign are you going to give to us so that we may see it and believe you? What work are you performing? Our ancestors ate manna in the wilderness. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." They said to him, "Sir, give us this bread." I want to thank three people this morning for the wonder of a vaccine for COVID-19. One is Cornelius Vanderbilt. Yes, he's been dead for quite some time. But in 1873, at the behest of his second wife, Frank Crawford, from Mobile, Alabama, this man from New York City, who had billions of dollars, was in the company of a Methodist bishop in New York. The Methodist bishop shared with him his plan to begin a college in Nashville, Tennessee. Cornelius Vanderbilt really doesn't have a very good reputation, do you think? But here's a man who wrote a check for $1 million in 1873, and Vanderbilt University began its work. I also want to thank John D. Rockefeller Sr. Yeah, he's gone too. But in 1901, this man who had more billions than Cornelius Vanderbilt lost his grandson to scarlet fever. He was touched so deeply by this that he began the Rockefeller Institute of Medical Research. In the first 2 years, this place of science discovered a cure for meningitis that was rampant in New York City. And then went on. And the history of the Rockefeller University Medical Center is amazing because DNA is mentioned in that. In the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, research into viruses was a part of their work. So I do want to thank Cornelius Vanderbilt. And I do want to thank John D. Rockefeller. The third person I want to thank, and both my wife and I were vaccinated with Moderna vaccine. So when we were there at Hickman area, there at Columbia State, the nurse, we were in our big truck. The nurse was a little smaller than the truck.